Sparkso has the vision to build technology that helps communities connect. Their first product is an event ticketing platform that makes it easy for event producers to sell tickets directly on their brand's or organization's website. With Sparkso, it is easy to create a ticket checkout experience with multiple ticket options and add photos and videos to a customized event details page. If you're an event producer, check out Sparkso, SPARXO at sparkso.com/the color of success /. Mention the color of success during signup to receive 50% off Sparkso fees for the first event you host using Sparkso ticketing. From nightclubs to yoga retreats, brands that care about bringing people together to create great experiences, trust Sparkso. Welcome to the Golden Crane Award-winning Color of Success podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie J. Wong. Well, I'm so glad to have Susana Chen here. She is the founder of the Asian Creative Foundation. She grew up in New York, studied abroad in Stockholm and Cologne, and is now based in Shenzhen, China. She serves as a senior marketing manager leading flagship product experiences of OPPO. Susana's professional expertise includes working with marketing to develop core values of brand positioning. She brings client expectations to life through transformative learning experiences with an emphasis on experiential marketing. Her skills include design leadership, creative strategy, design direction, branded environments, blueprinted customer experiences from local brand experience to global customer journey sales tools. Her clients include many global Fortune 500 companies. Susana, thank you so much for joining me. And we have a definite time difference. So this has been a great coordinated effort.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I'm excited to talk with you.
Absolutely. You have such an incredible journey from my understanding. And I was wondering if you could tell me more. I mean, clearly an exceptionally impressive resume, but wanted to focus a little bit on founding and leading the Asian Creative Network.
Yeah, actually Asian Creative Foundation. There are actually quite a lot of really amazing communities out there. So I myself studies creative. I have product design background. Studied both Parsons in New York. Actually, I was born in New York. My family's from Chinatown. Have restaurants business and souvenir business. We have a big family in Chinatown. So back then my sister went to art school. So I went to art school as well. Somehow it's like a family thing. My mom's like, go there together with your sister. Graduated after study abroad in Sweden, Germany, graduated. And I know I've been always very fortunate to be in the creative world. I got full scholarship to Parsons for 5 years. And after graduate, I have also mentors that guided me into the industry. However, I realized that I have been a very fortunate one. Many of my friends after graduation, they couldn't really find jobs, or they're trying to search the new opportunities in the States. Mm-hmm. So I thought to find people that's very inspiring in the industry and share their stories. So that's how we actually start. We started offline events because I'm in the experiential industry. So it's all about face-to-face.
Yes.
Before COVID.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was time before COVID. It was face-to-face. I was very keen on connecting with spaces in Chinatown, like Canal Street Market, Mocha. We have done in different restaurants, kind of like, do we have the space? Can we take it? And then can we transform into a space where people can meet and know one another and share their stories? And after a year and a half, we really grew, the community grew, and we decided, instead of just a Facebook community, we went on and registered a 501c3 nonprofit, which none of us as a creator have done before, but we
It's a
decided to.
huge undertaking for those that haven't done it before.
Yeah, we're still learning. So it's not just me, it is me. I decided that I want to do this. I asked a friend of mine, does he know anyone? And then he recommended me Shandy Chai. She's not here today, but she's like, let's do it. So we just decided that we're gonna do one event per month. And we invite people that we think they have great stories to share. They have exciting exploration of professions in creative industries to have the experience to provide. We reach out and ask them. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to re-say the question. So I'm sorry, specifically your journey with the Asian Creative Foundation. So thinking a lot about building this wonderful community, what have you learned about yourself and the process?
It is a huge undertaking. It's I did not I we don't know how to run a nonprofit. We don't know. We're a creator, we're designers. Running a nonprofit is like actual business. You needed to set up a business. You needed to set up a bank account. You needed
Yes.
to have the full operation side. It's not just on the 2D part, it's a 3D space. Engage with the community and get the feedback, and how do we curate conversation that matters to the community. So I think that has been every month or every event or every feedback from the community, what kind of conversation that they want, or kind of conversation that we want to curate that we think is better for the community, and how to actually step by step with the team, with volunteers to put together monthly conversation. Yeah.
It
So
truly is a
that's
community. And it sounds like growing up in Chinatown in New York. I wonder if you could speak a little bit more about the transformation of Chinatowns and also the Chinatown in New York, because we as a community in various areas of the country are really targets of AAPI hate. And just wondering if you can speak a little bit more about the situation and what we can really do for our communities.
it is very, very unfortunate to hear these stories, and actually horrifying to hear the stories. Many of our volunteers, our community members are really sad about the situation and the problem that we're all facing right now. However, I do wanted to say one of the reasons that this year we're ready for creating the festival is because we have here, so not the sad story, but instead on the counter side, there has been so many great stories and great creatives that are able to step using their skill set, using the storytelling mindset to tell the stories, to create visuals, to create that artwork that support and gather and people together to understand why is it matters. So from all angles, as a creative, or as an artist on growing up, our parents always say, oh, you're never going to make money as an artist, you're never going to make money as designers, or they don't even know what is designer's job. However, I think now this is the time for creative people to curate our exhibition about the hate stories, to curate conversation about artwork or podcasts or all types of different mediums, music, dance, um, advertising, and this in all area sectors that can showcase that all the things that we have done to support our identity, our race, and who we are. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it has been an incredible thing. Obviously, I didn't think that I would be in a creative space in podcasting or storytelling as a psychologist, but you're right. There's so many positive stories. I mean, we had Fiona Renee on, who's an actress, but started and continues to do experiential work. Initially, it was building haunted houses, if you can imagine that. And but those are so important to get people involved. I am trying to go to the pop-up exhibition in Vegas to see the experiential exhibit of BTS, of course. That's one of my goals in the next week to get those tickets. But it's so important to feel connected to artists when people are getting immersed in the culture and the community. And I think it's just amazing that you're able to see this bigger picture of there's so many creatives out there of Asian descent, and they're really trying to get into this market. You've worked with Warner Media, some obviously some huge corporations. Could you speak a little bit more on how other Asian creatives can really break into some of the more mainstream markets?
There are many great communities out there. Right now we're partnering up with Asian Creative Network. They are a Facebook group that has more than 50,000 across the nation, members on Facebook. Then we also have ADP Bliss. They're right now one of the biggest mentorship platform out there. And then we also reach out to ADA Rising, that they are willing to support us, and the talent that within the ADA Rising are trying to work with us on how to share to understand that from the early beginning of that sparks of wanting to become a creative and becoming a creative, that story they wanted to share with us. Then we also have, yes, like you said, Warner Media on a corporate side level, that wanting to work with us. I think so far is a two-way street relationship. Is that we are as a community that know that there are a lot of Asian creatives that wanting to be in this space. However, they are, or some of them are not even creative, but they wanted to learn or be within this space, and even NFT, and they want to learn. So then there's that organization that's out there that have the capability to support and wanting to help, and they kind of all say yes to us. So right now it's not like, oh, we keep asking for support and we reach out one by one. Right now it's a two-way street. We share, we find people, and then the people recommend the community, and then we reach out. At the moment, we felt that we've been feeling very supported to do this festival. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we have so much to offer the world. And I think that's the key part of it is we have so much talent. And I'm just hoping that we continue to be able to showcase it and get our work out there.
Yeah, it is not, I would say it is not easy. Right now, the whole reason why Asian Creative Festival exists is because there are so many like different communities popping one another in here. And if you are a young creatives, your college, you graduated, you study graphic design, or you study film and photography or entertainment, there's just so many communities out there that you don't, maybe you need all of them, maybe you just need one of them, or maybe you needed to see which one. So what we're trying to do is like, hey, listen, you as a creative, your tendency is to be curious. You're curious and you wanted to be exposed to all kinds of creative inspiration and all kinds of methodology in terms of the application of art and creative concepts. So then you get yourself to acknowledge that there are so many communities out there doing great work. Which one is best fit for you? That's why we created it. And then they will tell us the stories. Each communities, the founders, the leaders, or the artists themselves will share their career path, their journey.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit more about your travels. You've lived in so many different places and how that's kind of shaped your identity and your career choices.
So I am a big believer in taking my creativity seriously. So meaning that I am responsible for my choice in life. I never want to settle in one job. I never wanted to settle in one company. That's not what I want. I don't mind to be a freelancer. I don't mind to go into agency and taking different cases. And I don't mind to go in on the company side. Right now I'm in the tech company. So I felt like every experience that I chose is for a particular reason, that I wanted to accomplish that goal. I want to learn to be I when in New York, I wanted to curate big event. I used to work at Freeman. They are the vendor for CES or ICFF and all the biggest trade show company. So I learned how to curate big exhibition and trade shows and branded events. Then I'm here now in the tech company. I also learned how to curate different conversations in terms of the product. And so I think every journey and every career choices help me to build my understanding and my curiosity of what I wanting to build. I don't know yet. It's like that you're trying to connect the dots. I'm still exploring. I'm still connecting.
And
And
that's
that's
okay.
why, yes. And Asian Creative Foundation, it together is not just me. Right now we have like 8 core team members, and sometimes with when we have bigger event we have up to like 15 or 20, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the season. uh I think I it feels great that as I grow and I grow together with a group of people that are very, very passionate, that we grow together.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I wanted to emphasize is that in a lot of our communities or families, it's really encouraged to have a linear path, right? You go to school, you become X, you get a good job, quote unquote, you stay in it. And times have changed. People really want this fluidity in their career and to get the experiences. I think that's kind of a takeaway that you were talking about is the experiential piece, not only in the exhibits that you curate, but in your life. Like you're taking control of your own life.
Yes, it's not just hustling, but like strategically thinking that that's the direction that I wanted to be exploring. That's the experience that I feel like that's what I need. So I apply, so I reach out, so I ask people around, and my experience of doing that, you need a community to find people that are like-minded, that
Mhm.
are wanting to share the same value of being responsible of curating your own life, curating your own experience. So that's why Asian Creative Foundation exists. There are a lot of like-minded, third cultural Asian creative that they grew up also in Asia, grew up in the States, and or family in somewhere else, and they study creative. So there all of them are most of them are like that. Yeah.
So how do you manage the expectations? Because even you mentioned, many parents are like, you're not going to make any money and you're going to be a starving artist. And so how do you kind of balance those expectations with what you want to do?
I think that is a I wouldn't say a long battle, but is that consistency of communication.
Mhm.
When I and st until I think until now, I mean, still now, both my parents have very, very little understanding of what I do, in terms of creative, in terms of why film shoot, creating experience or creating a space or curating topics, the creative motive of why I wanted to be doing. I think these are very difficult for my parents to understand. So I constantly needed to prove them little by little. So my first freelance job, okay, it's 3 months, or maybe actually I quit the first 2 weeks. the, and then like the first year would be like, constant changing of jobs, and they're very worried. They're like, do you need a government job? Your uncle is like the post office and you can try. And I'm like,
I cannot imagine the post office. Now your fashion would be on point and it would lead the industry, but yeah, I don't
yeah.
see you as a postal worker.
Yeah, and then the next year, I get extended to stay within an agency like more than 3 months, and then 6 months, and then now, this company that I am in, I am almost 3 years in. So, oh my God, that's a very long time. Actually, my
Mhm.
previous job, I also stayed 3 years. So I'm like always like in that itch, of like, okay, what's my next step? I think for creative, a lot of creative, and that's why there's so many freelance job. And right now we're working with a company called Working Not Working. Basically, it's a platform for creative to upload their portfolios, and when they want to work, they put their status as working,
Mhm.
and when they don't want to work, they put their status as not working. So that flexibility comes in with, of course, responsibility of yourself, of an individual. But I'd say that we talk a lot of this kind of conversation within our programs. Actually, we do run from 12 to 15 programs per year, one event per month, and or sometimes more. And a lot of our artists, whether it's tattoo artists, whether it's an architect, whether it's illustration, whether it's like beauty influencer, most of the people struggle with this problem, over the period of years, like maybe 2 years, if they stay consistent, they will find a way to stay. um yeah.
Absolutely. One of the big topics, obviously, is mental health. And I'm wondering how that is kind of addressed in your life and also in the creative community. There's a lot of social comparison in general. And even in the creative space, it's like, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. It's like when you're seeing other people doing this, like there's FOMO is real. And so, how do folks manage or work on their mental health in this space?
Oh, there's a post today saying that in the creative process, first you're like, oh my God, this idea is perfect. And then like a day later, after you like look at it, and this my work is becoming crap. And then there's like very steady process. And then you're like, oh, I hate
It
myself.
sounds
And then
like the
I can
stages
never be
of
a
grief.
creative. Yeah, and then we're like, I can never be a creative. And then at the end, and then it's like, okay, this is not too bad. I like it. It becomes part of your portfolio. I think, yeah, oh yeah. So ever since from school, I'm developing my portfolio every time, every year. every 3 months when you update your portfolio, when you update like, your resume, you're like that's it. That you judge yourself, you find. So one of the things I always say that creative why also our communities, and there's so many great creative communities out there, exist because there needs to be a space to be emotional about your creative process. There needs to be a space where you need to share, where you need to shout, where you need to cry, and where you need to get resources, and where you need to get help, and also mentorship. So we and that's where we come in. That's why also at the beginning we are lost. We started this program wanting to help others, but also wanting to help ourselves to understand different kind of creative we can become. Yeah,
absolutely. So tell us more about the Be Brave event and all the exciting things that are happening in May.
I am very, very excited for this event. So this event started actually last year we started. No, I wanted to say I had this idea since 3 years ago. When we first started, I already said I want a festival in Chinatown, celebrate together with everyone. Everyone's like, oh, you're so silly. This is a lot of money.
So you probably went through that process of like, oh, this is a great idea. And then people are giving.
Yeah. And then all my friends like, yeah, you're not gonna make, first of all, you're not gonna get any money, and then you're gonna spend a lot of time. You're not gonna, like, no one, yeah, people will go, but it's not needed, it's not necessary, and who's gonna help you? So then really I was like, okay, fine, don't need big festival, one event per month. So after, within time, we understand what kind of audience we have, a one by one individual event, and how to curate event, how to how to market an event, how to reach out to the speakers so then they feel comfortable to share. So every little step, how do you like what to post on Instagram, what to like how to curate that content, and all that little step builds today the Be Brave. So we started, then again we say, okay, 2021 is the year. We're ready. May, AAPI month. That's it. We're gonna do. So we started last year, September 2021, September, we started. We say, okay, let's do it in 2022. And together with 6 other individual, our team members, we put together this program. The topic, Be Brave. Actually, the original topic was take creativity seriously, but we discussed a lot of like topic and what has the community been doing, and we wanted to and the manifest. So at the end we ended with Be Brave, and we first wanted to celebrate with the community all the great work that everyone has been doing, and we wanted to share. We wanted to have a platform that we share, and then so that's how. So we this time Be Brave will have about 30 API speakers, a bit more, and it will be 2 days event. Friday and Saturday. Right now it's a virtual event because last year when we built it, there's the COVID condition. We weren't sure that, if COVID is still going to be hitting us, but seems like right now it's good. We got right now a lot of good feedback from the community. So some of the actually two galleries currently we're working with are wanting to sponsor us with offline parties. So we might have an offline party as well. And one of the biggest thing that we this year that we're trying is an NFT auction. Since we are a creative community, a lot of our members are doing amazing, really amazing work. We invite them to donate their artwork, and we be doing an NFT auction together during that whole month.
That is amazing. So, where can people buy tickets? What is the date and time of the event?
So right now the you can buy the ticket through our website, asiancreativefestival.com. The date is May 13th and May 14th. Like I said, it's 2 days event. Every day starts 12 noon time, 12 o'clock Eastern time to afternoon 5 o'clock. So we have more than, I would say, at the moment we're confirming at 30 programs, but there are actually a lot more people that wanting to join and become a speakers and share their work. We're working on finalizing that program.
Well, I know that you're very strategic, and I've been asking this question to a lot of our guests, but what is one question that you wish someone would ask you, and what would your response be?
Oh my God, that is a tough question. Um, I wish that you ask why Asian Creative Festival was important for me as an individual.
And why is it important to you?
Growing up, I never knew that being Asian is a very powerful identity, and being Asian American is my superpower.
Can you say
And
more about that?
being Asian American creative, it makes me a very individual. So sometimes you cannot choose who like your race. Growing up, I used to not really appreciate my Asian identity, especially when I grew up in Chinatown. And then I went to art school. There's that extreme, I went to private art school. There's that extreme of like contradiction of why is a Chinatown girl going to an art school? No, like, so there's that part that I've been hiding for a very long time. And then really finding that creative soul, that, and then learning about who I am, my culture, my background, and using the creative way to curate the conversation with the learning, to build something that I know, and my trade, my craft, my professionalism, and something for my culture. I think that's a very powerful thing that I never knew that it was is important for me to realize that that I strongly believe that that this is something that I wish I attended when I grow up, and seeing some models or role models, or seeing someone that in the creative industry that can get back, and that someone that look like us, or someone that have my stories, or someone that I can share. Because my family owns restaurant business, owns souvenir. I love New York t-shirt.
It's a staple. That and pizza sometimes.
Yeah, and I remember we used to sell, my mother used to sell Statue of Liberties, before like 911 or like
Mm-hmm.
all that souvenirs. So I really don't like this kind of business when I grow up. But then later on, I really started to understand my own culture and myself and who I am and my immigrant parents, and the hardship that they have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, that I know that's me that I never can get rid of. That's my part of my story and who I am as a individual. But at the same time, I can, there are many I this kind of background still allows me to explore what I want to be doing in the creative industry. And there are many more creative Asian creative that also doesn't have the background of having a creative family or things like that, but and they would wanted to explore their creative side that they had never exposed to. And this is the space where they can get firsthand how it feels like, how it sounds like, what does the people do in there? What does an architect do? What does an interior designer? What does an tattoo artist, illustrator do? Like all that question. This is a space that I curated together with the team.
Mm-hmm. And I hope that you're super proud. I'm super proud of you just meeting you for the first time and hearing all the things that you've built with the community. And I think that's the important piece is that many Asian Americans are coming together as a community to say, hey, one, speaking out about the hate crimes that are happening and saying we're no longer going to be silent. And then, second, really saying, hey, we have a lot to offer the world. Yes, there are amazing Asian American doctors out there. Even for myself, like being a psychologist was weird back then because it's like, well, wait, what do you do? Like, you deal with crazy people. And we don't really say the C word in this house very often because, like, I'm like, people aren't crazy. They're just having some difficulty, right? And let's not stigmatize that aspect because there's a lot of family members, friends, and even ourselves that we struggle with maintaining that balance in our lives. And mental health is really health at the end of the day. Um, and what you were talking about that really resonated with me, anyways, is embracing your culture, embracing your identity, and integrating that into your story. And just for listeners out there, if you don't know, Parsons is really hard to get into, really, really hard. So it really takes grit and talent to even make that transition. So, I mean, I just want to showcase that. And I know you're super humble, but that is an amazing feat in itself to, like you said, go from Chinatown to going to Parsons and traveling the world, etc. So,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for this conversation. I always really appreciate it is so important for me still now in the creative, working as a creative, to um elevate other creatives. I don't only elevate my own race, I elevate all the other creators that wanting to grow in the creative professions. However, I think this is because I am my with my identity, of course, I can feel a lot closer to people, and I can share those stories that have similar backgrounds like me, and I know there are so many. And also there's so many great stories also from the festivals or from the foundations that can hear from. So it's not only from me, but also I wanted to curate a space where everybody shared their stories.
Absolutely. And inclusion, we don't want to just pay lip service to diversity and inclusion, right? This is what we're living. And I mean, this is my way to give back to the community to really showcase some of these amazing stories and also to destigmatize mental health and that people go through their process and it's not a one and done. And I think you've highlighted just the importance of community and also exploring who you are and also who you want to evolve into. So
Yeah,
thank you so
thank
much
you.
for making this and figuring out the time difference. I mean, you're just an amazing soul. You could just feel it through the screen.
Thank you so much. Yourself too. I don't do podcasts so often. But while we do all the time, like these kind of conversation through Zoom, because we changed it to a virtual event. But it's so always so good to you're always asking that sharp question. Oh my God, they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't have that prepared. I don't have it prepared. This is me, who I am. That's the answer I have. So I don't really have the perfect written down script for you, but this is how I felt like I really share. I
I
hope
tell my
people.
daughter, we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress and kind of being authentic and doing what makes you happy, which is definitely a shift in thinking, right? It's not about stability. And in fact, my 10-year-old, she's I don't want to even say aspiring baker, but she's freaking amazing. I have to send you some pictures of her cupcakes. And she made me scones before she left to grandparents so that I can have that breakfast before.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she's amazing, but I tell her, honey, we don't have to create a bakery because people are like, I want to hire her for my baby shower. And is she on DoorDash, like as a joke? But I'm like, we're not making this a business right now. I just want you to explore and learn and experiment with, frosting tips and all those kinds of things. So I really thank you because the next generation really needs to see this, that it's not about making money and monetizing every single thing and especially creative things that you're doing. But like you said, it's an expression, it's a way to not only have a career, but it's also like doing what makes you happy.
Yeah. One last thing I'll share. One of the story that was so inspiring last year, I still remember the creator. We invited the creative director from Nike. She grew up in Wayne, I remember. It's in UK. It's in London. So at that time she was still working at Nike, and she has a her family has a cha restaurant, like Trashall.
Mm-hmm.
So she curated a book, like a very Nike art direction with this like black with a very cool font typography with a red, but then in a recipe way. Like she
Oh, that's
created
so amazing.
like a Trashall recipe book with Nike style. And like you can imagine that you're wearing like a Nike sneaker making cha shao, and like she wrote that like the 3 day or how many days of that you need to create cha shao meat. That's like her family tradition.
Oh, wow,
And
that's
we
amazing.
always got, yeah, you're right. Sometimes why she curious? I mean, how many copies that she can sell with that? Like she's not monetizing that, but she's using that's her project. That's her side project
Mm-hmm.
that she can curate that for her next generation. In a generation that people can understand. If you want my generation or me to like go flip my like a old cha shao recipe book, I might not even want to look at it. But if you curate it in a really nice typography, font, colors, type photography, art direction, I'll be like, yeah, that is so cool.
I mean, I always think about fashion and what I'm gonna wear to the interview. And today I wore the Vera Wang line
Um,
that she did for Year of the Tiger, and I bought my mom one. But it's interesting because on our Asian American Podcast Association, someone posted it and I was like, oh my God, I have to have that. And I have to get one for my mom. But, Vera Wang is notoriously known for making dresses. And I know she has different lines, but people think bridal, right? And I think it was so cool that she made a specific line and it just resonated with the community. And I think you're right. There's an aspect of presentation there. When my daughter makes ramen, it's in the fancy bowl, and I was like, I just want to eat it. Like, but she has to have it kind of pretty and it looks like a restaurant and stuff like that. But that's her way of creativity when she's eating. And food is so central to how we connect with each other.
Yeah. So I have so many, many, many good stories, and that motivates me to wanting to keep, volunteering myself to build a nonprofit, which is so hard, but
it is hard, but you are in the good fight. And I'm so, so blessed to have you on the show today and help you in any efforts that we can.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Color Success Podcast. Listen, like, subscribe on all major streaming platforms, YouTube, IG, and if you want exclusive content, you can join our Patreon. All links can be found at colorofsuccesspodcast.com.